Hello gamers, how you doing? My name is John with Gamester81.com and I am back with another system review just for you. In this episode, I'll be talking about the Neo Geo. Well, it's a new port of the Neo Geo anyway. And if you guys aren't familiar with the Neo Geo, it's a system that came out by SNK in 1990 in Japan, did very well, came over to North America in 1991. Initially started off in the arcades, and then it was eventually ported over to the home market as well. Big fan of the Neo Geo personally, one of my favorite retro systems, and there are still a lot of fans of it. What's interesting is SNK supported the Neo Geo up until about 2004. So that 14 years of the SNK from 1990 to about 2004 makes it the second longest supported system, only behind the Atari 2600. So as you can imagine, there's still a lot of fans of the Neo Geo today. It was a super advanced system back then. It still holds very well even today. And there's still a lot of homebrews being made for it, which is really great to see. Now there are basically only a handful of categories for the Neo Geo when it comes to collecting. You can get into the MVS of collecting, which is the multi-video system, and that is the arcade. You can also get into the AES, which is the Advanced Entertainment System, which is the home port version. But recently, a lot of fans and collectors have been getting into the Consolized MVS, which is, or better known as the CMVS. And that is basically a consolized version of the arcade. The system I'm going to review in this video is made by Analogue Interactive. I'll put a link to their website below so you can find out more about it. You can also order one if you like. Now, I'm going to forewarn you guys, the system is not cheap, but hopefully by the end of the review you guys will have a better understanding of the system. You will have a better appreciation of the power it can do, and you also see the benefits of owning this particular model of the Consolized MVS. So without any further ado, let's do an unboxing. Let's see what the system's all about, and you guys tell me what you think about it. Thanks for watching. Here's an unboxing of the system, guys. I have two boxes, a bunch of cords, some different games. I'm going to show you what came included here, what I got. I want to start off by showing you the adapter, the AC adapter. The cool thing about this system was designed and developed by Christopher Tabor. And he's the guy who's responsible for Analogue Interactive. And what's really cool, Christopher had everyone in mind in the world. So essentially the system is compatible everywhere in the world. This AC adapter, for example, it is volts. It's 100 to 240 volts, or in 50 to 60 hertz. So basically, it'll play fine in any country. It will not. You don't have to worry about blowing up your machine or anything like that. The only thing you'll need to do is get an adapter that will plug into the wall wherever you're from, and this kind of slides out like so. Pretty easy. So that's a really nice feature about the system. So in case you live in Europe or in Japan, wherever in the world, it should work. I also have a SCART cable. This is a cable that's more European style, and I don't have a connection to adapt this to any TV that I own, but this is supposed to make it look really cool. And the cool thing about this particular console is there's a whole bunch of options as far as connecting to your TV, whether it's a standard television or HD TV. This is one. This is if you live in Europe, you might be familiar with the SCART, but this is pretty cool. I also have an extension for your joystick, so this will extend the joystick a little further. The joystick cable is currently 6 feet long. This will extend it a little bit longer than that as well, so that's nice in case you want to sit a little further away from the TV. That's always a nice thing to have included. Also have a composite cable. This is your basic typical AV out, so this is your red, yellow, white. This is the lowest type of connection to the TV, so the quality won't be nearly as good, but if you have no other option, it's always available. I also have S-Video, which will be a little bit lot better. This will connect to HD TVs or standard televisions as well, which is nice. Also a component cable, which looks awesome. So if you hook this up to a HD TV, it will look fantastic. That's really nice to have. So there's various options as far as connecting it to the TV. Open up this box right here. This is the Analogue Interactive logo right here, in the top right corner. This is the joystick. So let's see what we got in this box. I will say this, everything is really nicely packed, which is great. Joystick, this is the cable, the 6 foot long cable. It is detachable, so that's nice for storage purposes. So if you want to store this away, you don't have to wrap the cord around the joystick, which a lot of people do, or rubber band it. You can actually just take it apart, separate it, and sew it in its own little place, which is nice and very, very convenient. Some information card about the controller itself, Analogue Arcade Stick User Guide, cleaning, how to contact, terms of use, nice quality printed paper there. Also have some bumper stickers or some stickers included. Pretty cool. Look how well this thing's packed. I'll unwrap that and I'll do a review over the controller separately, but give me a second, let me unwrap the system itself. So here's the system now. The system itself is pretty much almost the same size as the controller, just about. More stickers. Also a card explaining the cleaning, AV cable upgrade, how you can upgrade the cable components, analog, this is the different settings, stuff like that. UniBIOS, this is really cool. I'll explain what that is here in a second. That's a really cool feature of this system as well. It does some really, really neat things. I don't think the system could be packed any better than this. Also included is shock troopers. This is what the MVS carts look like. They're huge. They're a lot bigger than a Super Nintendo cart, but there's so much on the information on here. It's crazy. And as I mentioned before earlier in the video, there are a lot of homebrews coming out, and this particular game is called Gunlord. I'm going to have to do a review on this game separately. It's a brand new homebrew game. I'm really excited about this because this is really neat. The quality of this is just amazing. It comes with some stickers, some bookmarks, but this is the game itself. I've heard some fantastic things about this game. It's going to have to be worthy of a different video on itself. Here it is. This is the Consolized MVS, or just CMVS. And I'll tell you right now off the bat, guys, the build quality of this thing is fantastic. It's made from 100% ash wood. Every order is custom made. You can see just the way it's finished. It has got 6 layers of lacquer on there to protect it. I mean, this thing it weighs 4.8 pounds, which is 2.8 kilograms. I mean, this thing is definitely well built, and this is truly, it's not an exaggeration. This is like the Ferrari of consoles, guys. The system isn't cheap. It's the console itself is $649 US. However, there's so many cool things, and by getting an MVS and be able to play MVS games, you'll actually save some money on that as well. I'll elaborate on that here in a second. So in front you have your joystick. This is where your joysticks or your controllers will plug into, and every system controller is compatible with this system. For example, here's a standard Neo Geo AES controller, and this will just plug in like this. So really neat that's kept in mind. It plugs in just fine. It will play just fine on that. You also, the CD systems come with a joypad, and those are compatible on this as well. But once you see the controller itself, you'll want to stick with that, trust me. On the bottom is you have vents on both sides. You got these rubber feet here, rubber bottoms, which help it kind of grip and stay nice. Definitely don't want to tamper with this at all. You don't want to open up or mess around with it. On the back, you have your power. This is where your power would plug into on the bottom left. This is your switch on off. Also have your connection to your TV. So very simple, very basic. This is all connected, whether it's S-Video, your composite, your components, your SCART, that's going to work on there. That's really, really nice. One thing that this thing is lacking, you guys may notice, it's missing a slot for the memory card. And if you guys aren't familiar with a memory card, SNK had a memory card, so the idea was you can go to the arcades, play a game in the arcades, you can save it on your memory card in the arcades and bring it home and plug it in and play on this. So to be honest with you, you don't really need a memory slot because everything you need is in the system and console right here. It is only compatible with MVS carts, but the really cool thing is, as I mentioned briefly before, it has a UniBIOS 3.0 system built in, so basic program. So what that program will do, it allows you to switch between MVS and AES games, so you can unlock pretty much every library of games. In addition, it includes around 1,500 something cheats, kind of like, think of it like the game Genie. So you can, if you plug in Metal Slug in here, you'll have like unlimited lives, stuff like that, which is nice. It has a debug and a developer mode built in as well. And I'll show you how that menu interacts here later on in the video, but that's a really neat feature. So even though it plays only MVS carts, you can actually play AES modes and home console modes on the system, if that makes sense. Another thing I want to point out, it's got this LED light here. It's blue, lights blue. This system and model is available in 2 different colors. It's got this black finish. It's got also a walnut, very nice wood style finish as well. And that actually lights up white instead of blue in that model. As far as dimensions go for the system, the front height is about 2 inches or 50.8 millimeters. The back height is 3.45 inches or 87.7 millimeters. It's 12 inches wide or 304.8 millimeters wide. And then also it's 11, as far as depth this way, it's 11.2 inches or 284.5 millimeters. The standard Neo Geo AES system which is this right here. This, I can tell you right now, this Neo Geo is significantly lighter. You can see the memory card I was talking about, the slot. And it doesn't have the LED. You can see this, the build quality is a lot different. It's a lot taller, not as wide as the Neo Geo. One huge benefit of owning a Consolized MVS over the AES are the price of games. Now the games are essentially the same. The ROMs for the games for the AES and the MVS are identical. They're not compatible with each other because the chips are different sizes and the carts are slightly different, so they won't play on each other's consoles. And there are more games were released for the MVS than there were for the AES, so that's another huge benefit. You can play a lot more games on this system than you can on the AES home port. I'm going to show you an example of two different games here. Here's Magician's Lord. Great game this is for the AES. You can see the package, the home console market. Nice package design. These games are huge, by the way, and they're very costly back in the day. They cost around $200 each. So you can imagine how expensive these were in early 1990s dollars. This would open up, comes with instructions. Here's the cart itself. The cart is huge itself. It's got a nice sticker, nice display. I'm going to compare this to a size of a Super Nintendo cart. You can kind of see its size comparison. I mean, that's huge. You can see the size. Now I'm going to show you the MVS cart and show you what that is. This is Shock Troopers, a fantastic game. Now the size is, for the most part, the same. You can see there's it goes up a little bit here. The top, you got a sticker here, Shock Troopers. Very basic in design. These were meant to be in arcades, so they didn't really care about the look of it so much. As far as bottom goes, you can see that the cartridges themselves are different in size. The MVS is a lot wider in length than the AES version, and the reason they wanted to do that is because back in the day, even though the AES games were $200, the MVS carts were significantly much more money. So what they wanted to avoid was an arcade owner, rather than spending how much money the MVS carts were, hundreds of dollars, $500 or more, they wanted to avoid them going to a local store and getting one for a lot cheaper. That's how SNK made their money back then, so that was one reason they did it. However, what's interesting is over time, the games they kind of switched as far as value goes because they made a lot more MVS games than they did AES games. The AES games have gone up significantly in value, whereas the MVS games are, even though they're the same game, you can get them for a lot less. I'll give you some examples. Here's a very extreme example. Metal Slug, which is one of the more popular games for the system, if you were to buy it on the MVS, it would cost anywhere lose $45 to $60. Not bad. If you were to find it on the AES, one of the hardest games to find on the system, depending on condition, it would cost anywhere from $2,000 to $2,850. Huge difference, as you can imagine. Another example, which isn't quite as extreme, is King of Fighters 98, another great game for the system. The MVS, you can find it for $10 to $30, not bad. The AES, $140 to $165. So if you want access to these great games, definitely MVS is a lot less expensive today. So they've kind of flip-flopped. They used to be more expensive back in the day, but now they're a lot less expensive.